Hello everybody, welcome to another watercolor tutorial. It's February 28th when I'm filming this, and it is currently snowing about 15 centimeters. We're supposed to get more this week, and I am sick of winter. So we're going to be painting flowers to uplift our mood, get in the mood for spring. So this tutorial is inspired by Emma Levebre. I saw a video of hers pop up and it instantly made me so happy because these flowers are gorgeous. Like, I took a quick look at her videos, and man, she is like the queen of flowers. I am not a floral person, so God knows how these are going to turn out, but magnolias are beautiful flowers. My parents have a beautiful one, beautiful magnolia tree growing, and I just recall that just beautiful scent in the spring. So yeah, let's just get into it. I am taking pink watercolor right now. I'm gonna try and show you what I'm doing here. I've watered it down quite a bit. And we're going to begin by painting just kind of the rough outline of what we want our magnolia flowers to look like. So I'm going to have basically one over here and one over here, maybe another one over here. But the way that we're going to paint it is we're going to have kind of a main cluster in the center, going upwards like this, and you want to have sort of loose brush strokes, by the way, and then another cluster like this on the side, on either side of that main cluster that you just painted, and perhaps another couple clusters coming from this, in between these two and these two clusters. Sort of like that. Mine is a little bit too pink. I'm going to try to lift some of that off. So I'm just dabbing my piece of paper on, my paintbrush on a piece of paper towel to try and lift some of that pigment off. So the next thing we're going to do, you got to work quickly here before that dries. And we are going to take like that same pink color, but we're going to pick up a lot more of it this time. And we're going to try and kind of create these lines. Okay, I'm going to switch actually to my size 1 here because that was a little bit too much, too thick. And I'm basically drawing these lines coming downwards. And I just want to concentrate them towards the base of my petal. And I'm going to do that on essentially every single cluster. So the bottom of every single cluster is going to get some of these lines. Okay, right now it looks horrible. And I'm hoping this improves because, my God. I can tell that my first layer was just too dark. Like, we wanted it to be almost clear. So hopefully those will fade out. The other thing we can maybe do to help it is I've just taken a size 8 brush here and I'm going over a portion of it to try and fade those lines. I don't want them to be so harsh. So that looks a bit interesting, the way that it Oh man, see, this is what I mean about like me not being a flower person. I'm definitely more of a landscape type painter. But okay. So I'm gonna go back in. I do want to make those corners a little more pronounced so I could define, you know, the different sections of this plant. It'll do the way it is now. I'm gonna paint the second one. I got my first practice. That was my first attempt. So now I'm going to try a second one. I don't have any room on my palette here because I'm very lazy and I don't clean it. But I'm trying to water this pink down a lot so that it's almost white. So yeah, our next one, I'm gonna make the next one come, no, I'm gonna paint it here actually. So, I'm gonna flip it. No, I'm not. Sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out what is gonna happen here. I don't wanna make it exactly the same shape as this one. I'm gonna have it, I think the key to this, that is still too dark, is trying to do this as loose as you possibly can. So this one is a lot more wide, I guess. But I'm following still the same pattern in which I have 3 sections and then 2 sections in between those 3 sections. Sort of like this. And like it's facing downwards because my stem is going to come up and go like this. It's stem, stem. So I'm going to now grab my more pigmented pink. So a lot less water. And we're doing the same thing. I've got a lot of water there. I'm going to try and pick that up. But you do want to move towards the center when you're painting these lines because you want that pigment to concentrate, you know, at the end. Rather, if you go like this, then the end concentration is there, so there's like this, you can see this blob of paint and it doesn't look as nice. Oh, I just did it. We can go back in and fix this. I do not have the finesse, if that's even the proper use of the word, to paint flowers so beautifully. But that's why we practice, you know, like I get comments often where people say, oh, you're like, I'm so happy we have a professional like you giving us these instructions. And I'm flattered, but I laugh at those comments because I am not a professional. I very much feel like I am a beginner. And that is why I name all of my tutorials like beginner, because I don't want to put any expectations on people, or, you know, have them think that these are more expert level tutorials than they actually are, especially when it comes to flowers. And I've mentioned this in previous videos, but I know that a lot of YouTubers, watercolor tutorial lists, they practice their painting before they film it. So they have a finished product and they basically show you how to do it again. But, you know, who's got time for that? I don't have time for that. If this was my full-time job, maybe I would do, no, I still wouldn't do it, because paper is really expensive. And I mean, you could practice on cheaper paper, but then it's not going to be the same effect. If you're practicing on non-cotton paper, you know, the technique is totally different, or at least the way that the paint reacts with the paper is totally different. So how can you possibly practice that? I don't know. These are just my my thoughts. So that looks a bit odd, but we're gonna go with it. I want to kind of fill in some of these gaps a little bit more gently, so I'm going in with just a wet paintbrush, no pigment on it, and I'm just trying to extend some of this color so it doesn't look as harsh. Like, I do want it to be more of a seamless transition. Anyways, that looks the way it looks. Nothing we can do about that. I mean, no, there always are things we can do about it, but I do not have the talent to paint flowers. Practice, 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 as they say. And, you know, I've never been in the mood to paint flowers, but the joy that these colors bring me in this harsh winter that we've been having, I definitely want to focus more on these for now rather than the landscape. Obviously, I'm going to have landscape paintings, but we need some color in our lives. Okay, I was just outlining some sections there with more pigmented color because it kind of started to blend together and look like a blob. So I'm going to do one more over here, but before I do that, I'm going to just quickly basically pencil in what I think my stem is going to look like, just so I have an idea of where to paint it. So it's going to come down kind of like this. No, that is too straight. More like that, maybe. This is just a regular pencil, by the way. Some people have asked if it's like some special watercolor pencil. No, it's just a black pencil, but it's just a pencil. So I'll have another one come in here. I'm happy with that. So my cluster is going to be like this, and it's probably going to come off the page a little bit, but I actually like that. So again, we are taking our watered down, switching to my size 14 here, so I have bigger brush strokes. We're going to do the same thing, so we're going to paint this section first. I'm going to just stick with this shape because it looks a lot nicer than whatever that is. So yeah, remember, loose brush strokes. That seems to be the way to go. And then have the two coming on either side, and then I don't really have room to do these two sections because it comes off the page. But there we go. We've got something there. Then I'm going to switch to my size 1. I'm going to pick up a lot more pigment, a little bit less water, and have those lines moving towards the base of each section. So you do want to have them a lot closer than I painted here. Who knows what is going on in this painting? I do find that, you know, when you don't know what you're doing, you're just kind of trying it out for the first time, you get to know what works and what doesn't. And so your second attempt is always a lot more controlled and sometimes, you know, looks a lot better. So if I were to do this again, I would know that I need to keep my brush strokes a lot more loose. And it might have something to do with my brushes. I have stuck with my Grumbacher brushes since the beginning, or my Winsor & Newton and my Grumbacher, and I love them. So, and they're considered, the Grumbacher ones are considered professional quality according to Michaels. But I don't know, I haven't experimented too much because I just don't think it's worth investing the money into it. If I have something that works, then I don't know, I'm not gonna spend my time and money trying to figure out something better. Maybe in the future when I have more resources to do so. But you know what? These did not turn out half bad. I'm usually pretty disappointed in my flowers. And you know, maybe my floral expectations are so low that I'm actually sort of surprising myself right now. Because when you look at these individually, or when I look at them individually, the petals by themselves, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening here? This needs some serious improvement. But when you kind of take a step back and look at this as a whole, even without the stems of the flowers yet, it really doesn't look too bad. So I'm going in here with my size quadruple 0, my very favorite detail brush. I'm loading up on quite a bit of pink and very little water. And I'm just trying to add some a little bit of intensity just at the base of all of our sections. I'm kind of scared to do it on the other flowers because they've probably dried already. Yeah, I don't want to mess with that. But see that, and that was my third attempt. That was my third one, and I personally think that this is the best one. So the more you practice, the more will come out of it, I think. Don't get discouraged. This is the worst one. That's the best one, I think. I wish I could go back and do the same on this one, but it's already dry, so it's not going to blend in really naturally. Should I go back and mess with it? I really want to, but I know that if I start adding, like if I try to blend this out, it's going to cauliflower. I know it, but I'm still going to do it. You could also use your finger. I'm going to just moisten my finger a little bit, and because when you do that, you're not allowing the water to dry in a pool. It's kind of hard to explain, but the reason the cauliflowering happens in the first place is because basically a large surface area of water goes over top an already painted surface, and as it dries, I mean, I don't know like the chemical or the scientific process behind it, but it dries in this like a cauliflower. And it does that because the difference between the moisture in that painted section and the moisture in the dried section is so different. So if you do not allow that difference in moisture to occur, which is what I was trying to achieve by kind of using my finger and drying it to a point where there's a gradual transition in moisture rather than a wall of moisture in one section. That can help prevent the cauliflowering. But that was more of like an intuitive on the spot decision. I wouldn't recommend using your fingers as like a, you know, a regular technique. But it seems to work here. I don't know. So I'm glad I did that actually. Because that did spruce this one up. Oh, now I'm tempted to do it on this one. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. So this is exactly what I was saying. I've said this in previous videos, I don't know which ones, but I was like, you know, don't be so caught up on the process of following whosever tutorial you're watching. Just, you know, use it as a guide, but then do your own thing if that's what you're feeling. If your intuition tells you to try something, try it. Like, Emma did not do the finger thing that I'm doing in her video because she is just way too talented at flowers, so she didn't need to do that. But, you know, that's what works for me. And as a result, it does add a little bit of a unique element to my painting. So definitely, and that goes for everything. That goes for, you know, color choices and whatnot. Like, don't be caught up on the process, the details. Just do what speaks to you in the moment. And work on things that you don't usually like painting, because that's what makes a better artist. That's how you grow. I hated painting flowers a couple years ago. I hated it because I didn't know how. Okay, that one's all right, but I really like how those two turned out. I'm really glad we, you know, ended up trying to add a little bit more to them, because in my opinion, it really fixed them up, added something special. Let me know what you think in the comments. What's your opinion on our little last minute spontaneous fixes? Okay, so next we are going to paint, like I'm pretty happy with how the flowers turned out, and that does not happen too often. So I wanted to now paint the stem of this. So I'm gonna lightly erase this pencil mark because I don't know if it's going to show through. And I'm going to be using my size 8, I believe. So with my green, I've said this many times, I ran out of the nice green that I loved using. It lasted me almost 3 years, guys. That is... No, it lasted me more than 3 years because I bought it in December 2019. I bought this palette in December 2019 and I'm still using some of most of the original colors. The only ones I've replaced are the green, one green, and the black continuously, because that one I use in almost every painting. So I highly recommend this one. The link is in my description. I mean, I haven't tried any other paints, like any other better quality paints, so who knows, like my experience with paints might be quite limited, but you know. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna stop blabbing. I'm gonna paint the longest, the main portion of the stem first, and don't make it straight. Try to make it kind of curvy, wonky, because that's what will make it look a little bit more realistic. You can add some little light petals coming from this base area like this. And then I'm also going to have another one coming up here to join with this one. And then I'm gonna have another guy coming up like this. So the thing is, these are already dry, so they're not gonna blend really nicely, unfortunately, with the flowers, because typically there's a really nice gradual transition. We can still try to make that happen by adding some pink into this green and kind of creating a false transition, making it look like it was intentional, but obviously it wasn't. I'm just adding some leaves on the stem to add some more texture and whatnot to our stem. We can always go back and alter that later. Man, this is coming together nicely. Good job, Julia. It's a good day. It's a good day when this works out for me. When flowers work out. So, sorry, I'm just adding pink to this green part. Like I'm trying to mock or create a faux transition by adding the pink to the green. Transition is a little bit more natural that way. Very nice, very nice. I did switch to my size 1 here just so I could get a little bit more control there. And that way I'm also going over some of those leaves. So that was just kind of like my rough outline, and now you can go over it again with a darker hue. Or just, you know, don't pick up as much water. More pigment, less water. But I do like leaving some of the original, the light green there, because it adds a little bit of depth. Is depth the right word? I don't know. We ain't here to learn art terminology. This is definitely not the channel for that, because I don't know what I'm saying half the time. This channel is more like, I want to paint something, I want to pick up a paintbrush and paint something. This is how you do it. With no experience. This is looking good, guys. What do you think? Am I tooting my own horn a little too much? I was just not expecting this to turn out this way. My paintings almost never do. I'm going to add a bud just to fill up some of this white space. So going to kind of go like this, and then I'm going to grab pink and transition that into the green like this. Needs a little bit more green. Beautiful. Maybe a little more pink at the end there. I'm gonna have another bud here, I think. Just a little empty space. I'm digging the loose florals. I really am. Maybe I just really lucked out with these ones, but I'm a happy painter. That looks so great, guys. I am so happy. I hope yours turned out nicely too and you surprised yourself. This doesn't happen too often, where I'm like, wow, I really outdid myself. I'm just going over the green again in certain places, adding more texture to it, I guess. Just go with the flow. Go with whatever looks good to you, whatever feels good. You might feel like you're missing something, add whatever you want. So there we go. Okay, I am pretty happy with how this turned out. I'm very happy with this. So let me know what you think. I'd love to see your recreations on Instagram. I love it when you guys share those with me. If you enjoyed this one, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below what you think and what kind of flowers maybe you'd like to see in the future. That would be great. I love reading your comments. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.